Hey everybody, it's Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. Welcome to your monthly market update for June of 2025. And I'm here with.
Sean Provencher. Thanks for tuning in, folks.
So, we're going to talk our different strategies here and theories about what's going on with the market. What is your theory there, Sean? Sean P.
You know what? It is a real tickler, Jane. Um, I feel like it's hard to tell what's going to happen next because right now there's so much on the market that buyers have this luxury of choice. And so there's some properties on the market that one would think should be moving quickly. I know we've been talking about, people that we're looking at, listings that we know people have, that we're talking to, even listings of our own that we're like, man, this should be moving. And certain things aren't moving as fast as you would think. And then other things are just flying off the rack. So I think one thing that is very noteworthy is just the amount of inventory we have on the market right now. It's huge. Like, we don't see this often.
So, before the show, we were talking about the list to sale ratio and the absorption rate. So, what did you determine?
This is actually less eventful than even I thought it was going to be. So we've been watching this really closely. We know that when we look at months of inventory, so you take the total number of listings on the market, you take the number of sales in the last month, do a little math, and it gives you an idea of how long it would take to sell everything on the market if we weren't putting new homes on. And we know that a balanced market is anywhere from 4 to 6 months. We are squarely at 5 months. And we've been hovering right in the middle of that balanced market for over a year at this point. I thought it was going to move quicker though. We're coming into the summer months. If we see a slow month of sales, that could quickly change things because we're still sitting on a lot of inventory. Sales drop. That's really going to change that ratio. So far though, we are just gangbusters on sales. We've had a couple really good months.
Okay, so we did have a couple of really good months. We had a couple of slow months as well. I feel we ended 2024 on a strong note, and that continued on until January. Then the US election happened. Everything kind of came to a standstill. That's when our inventory started to increase. I felt like February, March, and a bit of April were slow, then it picked up. And now I feel like we have kind of a late spring market happening. So my theory, because I've been looking, the prices have been consistent even though we're going up in inventory. So my thought is that sellers are looking at pricing their home where their neighbors were pricing their home a year or two ago when the inventory wasn't as high. So they need to really look at where the activity is happening in their neighborhood. And what you were saying is some are going like gangbusters, some are not. Is first of all, if you're selling, you have to be very price sensitive. Even if you're out by $10,000, you can miss a sale. But the other thing is, you will get very quick feedback right away if you are asking a little bit too much. You won't get the viewings.
Yeah, and I think the thing that people get mixed up about in a market like this is when you look at it, because you started out by saying like prices haven't moved much, right? Like they're pretty static. The thing that people forget is just there's so much choice right now. So even though we're pretty static in what average prices are when we, see the solds that are posting, we're not seeing anything alarming. You still need to stand out. So it's not that you need to, price aggressively and sell for a discount. It's just you need to really price at value. It's the people who overprice their homes that are really suffering. You're not losing money putting your home on the market right now. You'll do well. But if you get greedy, people just go right past you. They've got 3,700 other options to consider.
Yeah, I have
Almost
clients right now.
3,800. Sorry.
I have clients right now who want to price about 5% over where I think the market is. And I'm like, you know, the thing is that because there is so much choice and buyers are a bit finicky right now, I feel they're not going to go for it. So they don't want to overpay. They're afraid. They're thinking the market's going to go down. They're anticipating that it's either going to be like this or like this. So if you're just slightly above and you want to negotiate down, a buyer's going to say you're asking too much. But if you price right on the money, we had a condo, and condos have done well this spring. I think that's where the bump in sales have happened. If you're pricing your condo well, it's going to sell quickly, and we did that on Pandora, right? So
Yeah.
we sold in 3 days.
So what do you think is coming next?
Uh, I think we're gonna see more inventory. I know there was some issue with people with their financing, people who had fixed term rates who are coming up for renewals. So that's part of the inventory coming to market. There's also short term rentals downtown. They're tending to cash out right now, so there's opportunity there. What's interesting about those is that when 2 years ago, before the legislation changed, short-term rentals were awesome. They were an awesome investment because the income was quite high. Now with the rules around 3 months or more, the owners are finding they're not getting the income that they used to. So those are coming on the market, and I can see because I've listed one a few years ago, right when the change happened, and I've just listed one recently, and there's definitely languishing happening on the market right now.
It's really interesting where, I feel like we started out the year kind of slow. There's all this political goofiness that was going on, and that created a lot of apprehension. Buyers don't make big moves in an uncertain market, so I think a lot of people sat by the sidelines, and that's what caused our inventory to grow in the first place. You said a minute ago, like we're getting into what feels like a late spring market. Like spring is normally party time for us, and it feels as though we're likely teed up for some of that activity from the spring to happen this summer, because I think a lot of people are just saying, wow, well, you know what? The world's gone crazy. I'm just going to move anyways. I might as well live somewhere nice while all this stuff's going down, right? And so I look at that, and it's almost like this delayed kick in sales activity is the exact same thing that might just see us through a bit of a risky period. I've been really concerned over the past few months. Anyone who's been watching us, I've been saying, like, if we have slower sales and we're still sitting on this much inventory, so where we started today, like that's a major concern. But buyers have had a voracious appetite over the past couple months, and we might just escape this whole thing. We won't really know. I think for the next 60 days, we're going to have to really watch over the summer and see if we do get that late spring market and kind of carry us through all this.
So it's interesting. Before we talked online, we were talking about the absorption rate being 5 months, and that's being similar to what it was last year. So we really need to keep an eye on that, because as soon as that absorption rate is extended, so 1 in 5 houses is selling, as soon as it goes up to 1 in 6 houses, then sellers are going to have to really revisit their pricing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And to give you context, like we are not far from this happening. If we just sit, like last month we had 3,778 sales. If we sit at that level of inventory and the number of monthly sales goes down from, like this month we did 760, 61. If we do what we did last summer, softer sales numbers, like in August last summer we saw 545 sales. If we put that against our current inventory level, we're at like 7 months of inventory. That is way past the line into buyer's market territory. And that's when pricing adjustments are going to start to happen.
Right.
But if we
So
keep gobbling it up, right, like we might just kind of skip past this whole thing and go, whew, you know? Be interesting.
I think the secret is if you want to sell. So to me, it's a good time if you want to sell because the market is compressing, the upper levels coming down, the lower levels fairly steady. So it's a good time if you want to move up. It's also a good time if you want to downsize because you can move kind of across the market and you can get a nice place. So I think that there's opportunity there for people for sure. People are always moving. There are great deals out there. I got a call yesterday from a client who wants to downsize just because they don't want the debt anymore. So, these things are happening, you guys. The market's still
Well,
moving.
the beauty too for downsizers is you've got that freedom of choice. I can't tell you how many times I've spoken to people who have a big, beautiful home, this will sell itself kind of mindset. and they are apprehensive about selling their home because they just don't feel like they'll be able to get something. So right now, even though it's not totally crazy on the high end, you're still selling for a very good, safe price. It's a predictable market, and when you go to purchase, you can actually have the comfort of selecting something that's actually going to fit you, especially if you're doing that long-term downsize like this is going to be our last house kind of thing. It's really nice to be able to get out and look at a few, not have to offer in 6 minutes after seeing it without a home inspection, and go through a more regular process. So it's really it's comforting to see that.
Yeah, and buyers can take their time somewhat right now. So that's the other thing. There's options out there. There's a lot more control for buyers than there was during COVID, that's for sure. But we're not in COVID, and we can't compare our current pricing to how we were last year or the year before, how our neighbors did. We have to look at what the market's doing now, what's happening now, look at where we are relative, figure out where the action is, price there, and Bob's your uncle. We've been having very successful sales with our clients, and I don't feel that we are underpricing. And even if we do, there are still multiple offers happening.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's thankfully usually going to self-correct. And, some people can even use their pricing on their sale side to take advantage. I've seen, not our client, it was one that we purchased, but we were able to get our purchaser a really good deal because the seller had a purchase they had lined up that they were getting a good deal on. So we got a discount just because they were under pressure to make a move, because there's opportunity in a market like this. So it's something that you can be really strategic about.
Yeah. And we are involved in an offer situation right now where those people have an offer on another place, where those people have an offer on another place. So it's a bit of a daisy chain. And the agents are coordinating to see if everyone can take a bit of a haircut so that we can, like, maybe it's 10,000 for each place. And what that does is it just gives the first buyer more opportunity to get their financing approved. Interesting.
It really is. People get really caught up in wanting to sell for the highest price, and they forget that, if you buy and sell and both properties have a 5 or 10% adjustment in the same direction, it's a wash. And usually after all of the land transfer fees and like all of those soft costs, once you put all that into the equation, usually you're going to end up ahead if everyone just takes a little bit of a
Yep.
haircut. It's a hard pill to stomach though, because it's not a natural way to look at it, right?
Yep. Yep. And as you said, it's all relative, so you have the opportunity. So anyway, the point is that if you want to make it work, we can negotiate it, right? There's no real rules. We can be creative now.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else?
No, I think that's good. I think just I would say if you guys want to find out what's happening in your neighborhood specifically, give us a call. How do people reach you, Sean?
Just before I do that, I'll just echo that. Like what we're talking about right now is a broad data set. So we're talking about the entire like Victoria Real Estate Board area. So this is a large collection, 3,700 transactions, 3,800 transactions made up what we just talked about. And that kind of market is going to change slower than an individual municipality or an individual neighborhood. So all of this should be taken with a grain of salt. If you're thinking about doing something right now, depending on exactly where you're located, exactly what kind of property you own, that could really change your best strategy. So definitely reach out to us, and you can get in touch with me. Easiest thing, call or text me. My cell phone's 250-589-4166. That's 250-589-4166. How about you, Jane?
If people want to reach me, hopefully I'll look a little less tired. My number is 250-744-0775. That's 250-744-0775. And I'm going to invite you guys to follow us on Instagram at Briar Hill Group and on our Facebook page, because we're doing a lot of fun stuff. So
Yeah,
hope
come
to
check
see
us
you
out.
around.